The night feels endless. I sit at my desk, surrounded by unpaid bills and unfinished drafts. The city lights blur through my window, fatting into tired reflection. It wasn't supposed to be like this. 18 months ago, I moved back home to help them. Dad's business collapsed under loans and false promises. Mom said it was temporary, just until things got better. I believed her. I took over the mortgage, the groceries, the utilities, everything. My salary became their survival. They called it family support. I called it duty. At first, I didn't notice the small withdrawals. A dinner here, a gift there, nothing too alarming. But soon the numbers grew, like roots spreading underground. I worked 70 hours a week to keep us afloat. Mom redecorated the house with my money. 2 ordered designer clothes for interviews. They smiled, thanked me, and asked for more. I started eating instant noodles while they drank imported wine. They called me stingy when I asked about the grocery money. Mom's tone always softened when I confronted her. Prices went up, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. Dad said, we're proud of you. You're so responsible. Their compliments felt like chains. Every time I tried to set a boundary, guilt followed. They reminded me how they raised me, how much they'd sacrificed. It was always my turn to repay. I became the provider, the invisible pillar holding everything together. The house stayed warm. They stayed comfortable. And I stayed silent. But silence began to crack. I noticed the receipts, luxury groceries, spa treatments, electronics. All under my name. I scrolled through my banking app one night and felt my chest tighten. The numbers didn't add up. Someone had taken more than money. They had taken my peace. When I asked about the missing funds, Dad avoided my eyes. You know your mother handles that stuff better. Better? There was nothing better about deception. Still, I swallowed the anger, afraid of what truth might destroy. Family doesn't turn on family, I told myself. But what if family is the one holding the knife? The next morning, Mom acted like nothing happened. She hummed while making coffee with beans I couldn't afford. The smell filled the kitchen, rich and bitter like betrayal. 2 scrolled through her phone, laughing at vacation photos online. I stared at her and remembered the same brand bag she now carried. The one that appeared on my credit statement. My name. My debt. Their comfort. A quiet rage began to grow, slow and steady. Not the kind that explodes, but the kind that plans. I realized then that love without respect becomes control. And control can only survive as long as you allow it. That night, I opened a spreadsheet. Every expense. Every transfer. Every lie disguised as a favor. If they saw me as their provider, I would remind them I was not their bank. I just didn't know how far I'd have to go to prove it. The voicemail came at dawn. I wasn't ready for the sound of their laughter. Mom. Dad. Too. Their voices tangled in a careless conversation about my card. She changed the PIN again, too said between giggles. Don't worry, Dad replied. We'll leave it in the usual place. Usual place. Like it was routine. Like stealing was tradition. The words burned through the quiet kitchen. I pressed replay. Again. And again. Their tone was light, amused without shame. They joked about the charges, about my reaction. She always freaks out, too said. She'll just pay it off anyway. The room spun. My breath came shallow. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. It wasn't just money. It was trust bleeding out through every word. I sat on the floor, clutching my phone until my knuckles turned white. 3 voices. 1 betrayal. Later that morning, I confronted them. They were waiting at the dining table like judges in a courtroom. Mom's coffee cup steamed gently, sweet and innocent. Dad folded his hands, calm and practiced. Two joined by speakerphone from her resort, her voice dripping luxury. "Don't be dramatic," she said. "It's family money. Family money." The phrase sliced clean through my chest. I stared at their faces, looking for guilt. There was none. Only entitlement. Dad sighed heavily. "You know our situation, Con. The cards are maxed. We had no choice. No choice but to betray me." Mom reached for my hand, pretending comfort. "I've been giving two part of the grocery money," she whispered. She needed clothes for interviews. Interviews that never existed. Jobs that were just excuses. Every sacrifice I made had funded their illusion of stability. My silence fed their comfort. Now my voice had to feed the truth. "I could lose my job because of your debt," I said. My words trembled but didn't break. They didn't care. Two's laugh echoed through the phone. "Please, you make enough, you'll fix it." Fix it. Like I always do. Something inside me snapped, quiet and final. I looked at them and saw strangers wearing my family's faces. Their love had become a transaction. Their kindness, a strategy. "You've been treating me like an ATM," I said. Mom's lips parted in false shock. Dad muttered something about gratitude. I stood, my pulse steady. "I'm done." They blinked, not understanding. They didn't know what it meant for me to stop paying. But I knew. That night, I sat in my room surrounded by bills and memories. The echo of their laughter still lingered in my ears. It wasn't just a betrayal, it was a revelation. Love without accountability isn't love. It's dependence dressed as devotion. And I had finally learned the difference. The house was silent when I opened the filing cabinet. Old papers filled the drawers, layers of forgotten promises. Receipts. Contracts. Dust-covered folders with my father's name. I flipped through until a document stopped me cold. The property deed. My name printed in bold, signed 18 months ago. The house belonged to me. Not to them. Not anymore. They'd transferred it to avoid taxes, thinking it was temporary. But legally, it was mine. A strange calm settled over me. For the first time, I had leverage. Real power. I could end the cycle. That night, I scanned every page and stored digital copies. Evidence. Proof of ownership. Proof of everything they'd taken. Every bill, every transfer, every overdraft tied to my account. The numbers told a story clearer than words ever could. It wasn't chaos. It was theft wrapped in affection. I sat in the dark, my laptop glow reflecting on the deed. Freedom had a shape now, and it looked like paper. I drafted a plan with careful precision. Confrontation wouldn't work. They'd twist it into guilt. I needed strategy, not emotion. Step 1, secure my assets. Step 2, gather evidence. Step 3, find help. Help came from someone unexpected. My aunt, L-letter-1EC7, called after months of silence. Her voice was steady, grounded, untouched by family drama. "I heard what's happening," she said. "I've been where you are." I didn't answer at first. Pride had kept me quiet for too long. "You can't save people who enjoy drowning," she added. Her words sank deep. I told her everything. Every lie, every transfer, every time I'd covered their debts. She listened without pity. "When you're ready," she said, "I'll help you rebuild, but not here." That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and replayed her voice. Not here. Maybe leaving was the only way to survive. The next day, I opened a new account under a different bank. No shared access. No family names. I moved my savings, my salary, every cent I could salvage. I changed passwords, security questions, the locks on my door. They noticed nothing. Mom still hummed in the kitchen. Dad still tinkered in his workshop. Two still bragged about her business plan. They had no idea their foundation was shifting beneath them. Each day, I recorded conversations quietly. Small comments, requests for more money, excuses repeated like prayers. The evidence grew into a mountain of truth. By the end of the week, I had enough to expose them all. But exposing them wasn't the goal anymore. Freedom was. For years, I thought love meant sacrifice. Now I understood it could also mean distance. Love doesn't demand destruction. It demands boundaries. And I was finally ready to draw mine. The offer came faster than I expected. A real estate developer wanted the property. All cash. No delays. I stared at the email, heart steady, mind sharp. This was it. The moment everything shifted. I met with the agent the next morning. She explained the process, efficient and cold. The deed's clean. You can sell immediately, she said. I signed without hesitation. No trembling hands. No second thoughts. Just quiet resolve. By the time the papers were filed, my family was packing for a trip. A bonding weekend, Tu called it, laughing over her suitcase. They thought it was my birthday gift to them. In a way, it was. A farewell wrapped in generosity. I watched them drive away, their car disappearing down the street. The silence that followed felt holy. For the first time, the house belonged only to me, and soon to no one. I walked through each room slowly. The walls no longer whispered guilt. The air felt lighter, freer. I boxed my things methodically, documents, clothes, memories. Anything that carried their weight stayed behind. I called the locksmith and changed every lock. Family trouble, he asked, handing me the new keys. Family solution, I replied. By noon, the realtor had the for sale sign planted in the yard. The neighbors watched from their porches, pretending not to. I didn't care. The transaction moved fast. Too fast. 2 days later, my lawyer confirmed the funds were secured. 1.6 million. Enough to close every debt, start over and breathe again. That night, I sat at my empty dining table, the contract beside a cup of tea. The house hummed quietly, like it understood the ending. My phone buzzed, Mom's name flashing across the screen. I didn't answer. Not yet. They would return soon, expecting everything unchanged. But the locks were different. The ownership was different. I was different. Before bed, I emailed Aunt Eleronisi 7. It's done, I wrote. Her reply came minutes later. Good, I'll prepare the apartment and jobs. They'll need structure. Jobs. Not charity. For once, accountability had a name. I closed my laptop and let the darkness settle around me. Freedom didn't feel like triumph. It felt like peace. The next morning, I loaded the last box into my car. The rooms echoed behind me, stripped of lies and noise. I locked the door, tucked the keys in my pocket, and didn't look back. Sometimes survival isn't about winning. It's about leaving before you're emptied completely. The sale would finalize within days. By the time they returned the house, and I would be gone. They came back on a Sunday afternoon. The moving truck was gone. The house stood quiet under a bright sky. A large sold sign glimmered on the lawn. Their car screeched to a stop. Mom gasped. Dad's face drained of color. Tu froze with her sunglasses halfway down her nose. I was waiting in the driveway. No more hiding. No more explanations. Dad called out first, his voice too sweet. There's been a misunderstanding, Con. We can fix this. Fix this. The same words they used every time they broke me. Mom's tears came on cue, practiced and loud. How could you do this to your own family? I set the envelope on the hood of my car. Inside, documents, receipts, recordings. Evidence of everything they'd denied. This is the deed, I said. Signed by you, 18 months ago. Dad's eyes darted away. That was supposed to be temporary, he whispered. Nothing about this was temporary, I replied. I added another paper to the pile. Bank statements. Credit card bills. Each one stained with their indulgence. Here's the proof of the resort charges, the handbags, the dinners. Two crossed her arms, defensive but shaking. You can't just sell our home, she snapped. Our home. The word tasted bitter. You drained my savings to keep it standing. Mom stepped closer, desperate. We just needed time. We were going to pay you back. I laughed softly. With what lies? From my bag, I pulled 3 plane tickets. One way to down letter 1 EB5NG, I said. Jobs and housing are waiting, courtesy of Aunt L letter 1 EC7. Two snatched hers, then frowned. You used my card to pay for this. The same one you used to steal from me, I answered. Her mouth opened, then shut again. Dad tried reasoning next. We're your parents. You can't just abandon us. I met his gaze evenly. I already did when I stopped letting you use me. The neighbors had gathered quietly. Curtains twitched. Whispers spread. I didn't care. This confrontation wasn't about humiliation. It was about closure. I handed each of them a folder. Detailed invoices for everything I covered since moving home. Rent. Utilities. Groceries. Medical bills. Spa visits. Consider it an education in accountability. Mom's hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. You can't charge us for raising you, she said. I'm not, I replied. I'm charging you for raising yourselves. Silence spread like smoke. Dad looked small, fragile, without excuses left to hide behind. Two turned away, muttering curses under her breath. I didn't follow. The argument behind me dissolved into chaos. Voices clashed, old alliances cracked. For the first time, I didn't try to fix it. I got into my car, started the engine, and drove away. In the mirror, the house grew smaller, their figures fatting. No one waved goodbye. And I didn't expect them to. A year passed like a quiet storm. My new life settled into rhythm and peace. No calls at midnight. No begging for money disguised as love. The mornings were mine again. Sunlight spilled across my apartment floor. I worked from home, leading a growing design team. The business thrived without chaos clinging to it. My mind, once cluttered with guilt, was clear. Every sound of my phone was just business, not panic. The house, the debt, the endless manipulation, it was all behind me. But some ghosts linger even in silence. One evening, an envelope arrived in my mailbox. No return address, just my name in familiar handwriting. Inside were crisp bills, 10 million D-stroke letter 1ED3NG, and a note written in Two's voice. This is the first payment. I'll send it monthly until it's all repaid. I sat for a long time, reading each word twice. She continued, You were right, real respect comes from earning it. I didn't cry. I just breathed deeper than I had in months. The money wasn't what mattered. It was the acknowledgement, the shift from taking to giving. Later that week, I visited Aunt L letter 1 EC7's bistro in Down letter 1 EB5NG. The smell of coffee and sea breeze mixed in the air. Through the kitchen window, I saw my father cleaning tables. Mom was arranging flowers with quiet focus. Two balanced plates with the precision of someone learning humility. They didn't see me. I didn't interrupt. I just watched for a moment, a strange calm blooming inside. They were finally working, living on effort, not excuses. I joined Aunt L letter 1 EC7 upstairs. We shared dinner, overlooking the city lights. To boundaries, she said, raising her glass. I smiled. To freedom, I replied. We clinked glasses, the sound soft and final. That night, I walked along the shore alone. The waves whispered the kind of forgiveness that doesn't need words. It wasn't about forgetting. It was about understanding. Some love must burn before it can rebuild. Some ties must be cut before they can be mended. When I returned to Hanoi, I placed Tu's note in a drawer. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. I no longer measured love by sacrifice. I measured it by peace. The next morning, my team gathered for a meeting. I spoke with confidence, clarity, purpose. The woman who once whispered apologies now set deadlines. The woman who once feared rejection now thrived on self-trust. After the meeting, I checked my phone. Another deposit notification from Da and letter 1EB5NG. Another piece of healing paid in full. I closed my eyes, smiling to myself. Some debts can't be calculated in money. They are repaid in change. And for the first time in years, I felt whole. The rain fell softly against the window. I watched the city lights blur into streaks of gold and silver. A quiet evening, no noise, no demands. Just peace. On my desk sat Tu's latest envelope. Inside, money and a short letter written carefully. Mom started therapy, she wrote. Dad says he's proud of you, though he'll never say it aloud. I smiled faintly. Healing was slow, imperfect, but real. For years, I'd mistaken silence for love. Now I understood love was choice, not obligation. It wasn't about saving others. It was about saving myself. I placed the letter beside my design sketches. The two symbols of everything I'd rebuilt. Freedom and creation. My phone buzzed once, a reminder for tomorrow's flight. A weekend trip, just for me. No guilt attached. Outside, thunder rolled like applause from the sky. I closed my laptop and turned off the lights. For the first time in years, the darkness felt gentle. The past was paid in full, and I was finally free.